It's been very, very cold this week, as anybody who's been in sort of vast swathes of Europe can testify. So cold that it almost put us off doing anything. But Kerry and I did manage to steel ourselves, and we got out yesterday and did a bit. As you can, if you turn around, Hazel, you can see we've got two more. I'll just walk through in front of the camera. You see we've got two more sections up. Just loosely or roughly stood there. So this is the station 10 and the station 11. This is the back of the engine room. And it's making everything look really quite big. The shed is starting to look quite small, as you can tell by the way I have to squeeze through in front of you. It will fit in the shed, but the shed is going to be full with this boat in it. One thing that is really quite difficult, so far this boat build has been not difficult, it's been easy, but the hardest thing of all is to cut these notches accurately, because the chine log in this case has to run in together here towards a point, so we need an angle on these notches. It's going to run down a bit that way, so it needs an angle on there. So getting all of those angles right and the measurements right is not easy. I think we're doing okay, but it does take some very careful measuring and marking out. And as I said before, I think if those notches are right, the various longitudinal members will run correctly, and that'll be good, and the boat will be the correct size. So getting those notches right is kind of important. And I say not easy. And then when you're cutting, for example, here you're cutting a floor beam, supply and the battens. It's a big piece of wood that you're trying to cut at an angle. Quite hard work. But anyhow, we've done that. We've set these up. As you can tell, they flex like that, so they're not fixed together, but they're set up at the right height. And centred on the centre line, of course. So that's all accurate. And now the temperature forecast for the coming week is a bit better. So hopefully I can glue the scarf joints for the shear clamp and the chine log. There's another 3 metre length of shear clamp and chine log coming around here. Come back to the point. So I should get those scarf joints glued and run those around in there, and then we'll see what it looks like. And the shear clamp and chine log will fix these in place, so that they're upright. So that's where we are. It's looking quite good. If you want to wander through, Hazel, show us what we've got. Getting on. Another thing that will happen in the next day or two, of course, is that the day sailor will go out, and we'll start to set up the stations forwards. So at the moment we're looking at the back half, the aft end of the boat. But it's certainly looking big, and quite happy with progress.
Okay, camera's rolling.
time for a Tony's tool tip. And another electrical tool today. We've got the trusty angle grinder. You see it's a Metabo angle grinder. Metabo tools are really good. The tools that I showed you before, the planer and the orbital sander, the Metabo versions of those are really good tools, great quality. Really like them. Angle grinder, even for boat building, is an essential tool because you've got various different fittings that go on there. On here I've got one of these flappy sanding pads, so you can use it for shaping wood quite effectively. If you've got a tricky corner of wood you need to take away, you can get in there with this gently and shape wood very nicely with one of these. The other options you've got, that's one of the new flappy pads, look like that. Obviously various different discs, so there's a steel cutting disc so you can cut metal. You've got a stone cutting disc so you can cut stone. Somewhere here I've got the thicker one is a steel grinding disc, so different discs for cutting and grinding. And I normally have a couple of diamond discs as well for cutting tiles or ceramics or whatever. I've only got one at the moment because I broke one the other day. We've got the wire brush as well, which fits on there. So a whole selection of tools you can fit onto these and do all sorts of different work, cleaning up rusty metal or whatever. I think it's probably important to say that we do need to wear some kind of safety equipment with these. These discs, they tell us, can break up and shatter into millions of pieces, which, because they rotate at quite high speed, fly all over the place. So it's wise to wear goggles when you're using them, and some kind of hearing protection as well, because they make a bit of a noise. But other than that, marvellous machines, and we need one, I think.
Riches in the sunset, standing at the sea. Tell me where you're going so decisively. What's your destination? Tell me where you're bound. We can move together where adventures abound. Running free before the breeze. Are there many days such as these?